So do yourself a favor, make sure that you start communicating your message at a very big scale. Bring a unique value proposition so that you are constantly putting yourself in home selling conversations. And those are all things that you're able to do, as you guys know, with Zoodealio and the AI Home Report. I'll get us kicked off while we're waiting for everybody else. So I know one big thing that we were just talking about here in our office is, of course, the settlement for the NAR buyer compensation settlement, pretty much being signed off on, is supposed to go in front of the judge tomorrow. Apparently DOJ has kind of thrown their arms up around that and basically saying, hey, we're not going to give up our right to be able to investigate a little bit deeper and attack NAR on some level. And then I also read that they want some things in a little bit more concrete around the buyer touring piece. And so it's just kind of funny when you really look at a lot of these dig-ins and by these large departments, when you have the Department of Justice that's essentially looking at NAR and the history of what's going on. And what do these changes, ultimately mean for us? That really, you being a part of what we're doing here at Zoodealio, you're on the right path, because the fact that we can get in front of more sellers and being able to focus our business and having a seller-based business is really where it is at and where we need to be. And that is exactly what we are going to be digging into today, is really looking at the past year that we had, where our numbers are super abysmal, low, right? Less than 4 million home sales will happen this year. However, I'm going to show you some data that really is showing that next year it looks like that pent-up demand will release in a lot of ways. And I'm going to show you some strategies on how we could make sure that we are putting ourselves into a massive position so that we have not only a good Thanksgiving this year, but have a good one next year and have it be a little bit more what we're used to. All right, Kai, so I got a quick guest on here today. Kylan works in our marketing department and creates that content for you guys month after month. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Kai, and talk about that for a moment about your class that she's having tomorrow. And then also, if she can pull up a little piece, we'll do a little treat for you and kind of show you a teaser of what you guys will be able to dive into tomorrow.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Eliot. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., same time as today, I'm going to do a social media class. I do it every month. It's on the third Tuesday of the month. This week, I'm going to talk about, just because it's the end of the year and I know people are starting to talk about their plan for next year, for the beginning of the year, and how they're going to bump up their business. So I'm going to do a social media strategy, just social media 101, what to post, when to post, that kind of stuff, just to kind of keep your information in the foreground and up front so everyone, all of your followers and everything can see. That's 9 a.m. I put the link in the chat, but it's also in your training channel on your dashboard. And so you can get that link there as well. Like I said, it's every Tuesday. So this is what I have coming out tomorrow. It's just like Eliot said, a little teaser. It's all kind of Christmas related stuff, holiday related stuff. And because we push it out a month ahead of time, so all of your November content is going to be all December content. And so that way you have it in advance and you can schedule it if you're one that schedules their content to go out. And all of this stuff is completely editable, so you can customize it yourself. You can add your own CTAs, you can add your own contact information to it. And so that way it's right there on the screen. And there are videos on our Wistia page, our videos page, that show you how to do that. And I've done that in the past, so you can check that out. But tomorrow I'm going to just talk about social media and how to go about it.
Yeah, let me put a little bit of an exclamation point on this for everybody that is on here or that will watch this later. Pull that back up, Kai.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's all good. So one of the things that makes this so unique, guys, right, that we've created in the environment within Zoodealio is there's a lot of other applications out there that you could subscribe to monthly, and this is all you get is the content that is pushed out. And yes, you'll get some social media tips, tricks, coaching like she's going to give to you tomorrow as well. But what makes these so unique is these are customizable. Right? So in the event that you love this and you want to, but you're like, hey, this doesn't have my branding or my logo, or, it's not compliant per my broker, right? All of these little things that you have here, this is going to give you the baseline, and you can come in and put on your headshot, drop in the text for your contact info. If you want to do those things, of course, you can put it in the post. She's going to talk about those things tomorrow and different strategies that you have to get the best traction possible. But what I really want to put a spotlight on here is the ability to customize this, right? And then not only that, she kind of glossed over it quickly, but if you're a scheduler, right, that's something that you should be if you're not. The reason why is, I don't want to say set it and forget it, but the whole point of being consistent in our lead generation is really maximizing our time. And so when you can market and scale out your message in a really big way, and then now your productive time is responding to people that are engaging with your stuff, that's the cheat code that we're constantly talking about here, where you're going to give that epic and monumental service because people are engaging, you're creating the thought, you're inspiring a thought, you're getting them to think about something, and then you're coming in covertly after they've engaged in it. And it's just not so cold and forced on them after they've already kind of gone through the discovery process. And that's exactly what marketing and the thought leading content that Kai is getting ready to drop for you tomorrow is going to give to you and your business. So again, really something that you guys need to attend, be there. It's an absolute additional cheat code for your business and something that you really, really need to plug into because it will help you blow up your 2025 and have a bigger year than this year, which is what it's all about, year over year growth.
Kind of going off of two things that you just said too. I do talk about the set it and forget it and how it is not the rotisserie chicken cooker. You can't do that because it's a lot of engagement. And I know part of it, and that's one thing I talk about too, is you can't just expect people to instantly start following you. You have to build that engagement. It's all in the algorithm. Like it's like having a conversation to a person in person. You have to talk back to them. You can't just expect them to talk to you. And then on the other part, these are fully customizable, but we set it so you don't have to customize it. You can just download it. We give you the ad copy as well. So you can just copy and paste and download and upload and go from there. And you can even do it from Canva. You can schedule it and upload it from Canva as well, which is where I build all of these. So we make it super easy. I won't really talk about the scheduling part tomorrow, but there are posts in the past, videos in the past that I've done. So you can check out our videos page and go into there. But yeah, so we make it both options. So you can customize it and you don't have to. If you're not a creative or tech savvy, we make it super easy for you just to get content out.
That's what it is, right? It's all about circulating. And again, for me personally, as an agent, I can testify to this. When I'm posting and doing things on a very consistent level, here's the beauty of what happens. I will see somebody out, at a personal event, maybe they didn't like or even comment on the particular post, but through our conversation, they're going to bring up certain things like, hey, I see that you've been very active, or hey, I see that there's this new program that you've been talking about. What is that? Tell me more, right? So it's a really cool thing that when you partake in this, the results are always amazing, right? So do yourself a favor. Get your business going consistently by being consistent and bringing a unique value proposition to the market. And that is exactly what Kai has here, and a nice little pretty box for you, right? Little pre-Christmas gift since we're in the holiday season, or maybe pre-wrapped turkey, whatever analogy that you want to use so you can eat. The reality of it is take advantage of these opportunities, be very consistent in that delivering the message to the marketplace, and you will get the fruits of that labor.
You'll stay in, like he said, you'll stay in people's foregrounds. You'll stay in the top of people's conversations. Even if it's not talking about the program, you're still mentioning that you're in real estate. And it, when someone says, oh, my friend needs a realtor, and you just posted a couple hours ago or a couple days ago, um, they will remember you for that. Same as, it's the same concept as like pop buys or mailers. You just stay in the foreground of people's minds. And with social media, it's free and it's easy and it's schedulable. So you can kind of set it and work on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, since we're on a topic and I got 2 minutes that I can spare on that. So let's get clear on this because that has so much to do with what we're going to be talking about today. The set it and forget it is not, that's just a kind of catchy buzz thing that I think people try to talk about, that it's making something sound easy and not difficult. The reality of it is yes, you need to go in and set it and schedule it when those types of things happen. But once that message happens, it's equivalent to like what she was just talking about, a pop by, a mail, or even running an ad. When somebody engages with that through a like, a comment, or whatever, you need to reciprocate so you can, push that conversation farther. Right? Don't hesitate when somebody's, liking all of your posts, and you look back and I see that Kai, as an example, she liked 10 of my posts this past month, or she commented on something, I can maybe take the message to her offline. Hey, Kai, see that you and, your family has been expanding, and you guys thinking about buying a new house this upcoming year, right? Like, I'm sorry, Kai, just throwing out an idea. But my point is it's up to us to inspire the conversation, right? That's the whole point of I think that so many agents just sit back and wait till somebody comes up to them and says, wants to put in an order. Right? We are not working at McDonald's, right? Where we're going to wait for somebody to come up and say, you want a burger and fries kind of thing, right? This is an opportunity for us to be a sales expert, really more of an advisor where, hey, here's this life event. Hey, here's this opportunity to where you have a want, a desire, or maybe even a need, and then we can accommodate them. Right? That's, again, I know I feel like I've mentioned this a lot recently, but that's, the Seth Godin-ism, really where, marketing is really just solving problems at a very large scale. So Kai is giving you these assets. Kai and team is giving you these assets to be able to publish these things. She's going to drop her knowledge on you tomorrow to make sure that you know exactly what to do, get the total playbook, get the X's and the O's so that you can put this into action. And here's the other thing I want to talk to you guys about real quick with this. All of this will exemplify things like the AI home report. So we've had a bunch of agents jump into the home report. We have a bunch of agents working with other lead sources, running directly into Zoodealio and back and forth, et cetera, right? These are all the funnels that you guys are running. The part that I think that people miss with this sometimes is this little small piece. We're doing the heavy lifting, but when you do this will multiply your efforts in every single area. So anyhow, as you could tell, I'm slightly passionate about making sure that we communicate our value prop at a very large scale.
And social media shouldn't take up your whole life. Like you shouldn't be scrolling and texting all the time. You can like time block it into your day and spend an hour commenting, liking, sharing, that kind of stuff into it. And like your posts, if you have them scheduled, then you can go back and look at those as going through your friends list and commenting and sharing and messaging that way. And you spend an hour doing it, and it's part of your business. It's your digital resume. And so you need it to look good. And going on to the McDonald's thing, like Eliot said, just because like people are coming to us to take their order, McDonald's is still doing marketing. They still have ads going out. You still have advertise. And while they're there, while you're in the drive-thru, they're asking you, do you want a biggie size, that kind of thing. And so you have to be upselling yourself. You are a salesperson. You have to do your marketing. And this is a really cheap, inexpensive, free, easy way to do it. because
Yep.
everyone's on social media.
Just requires a little hustle muscle, and especially when you're, again, this is one of those things that's actually not free. It just comes with your Zoodealio account and requires a little bit of sweat by you putting these things in place and then responding to them once the actions start coming in, and you being clear on the frameworks that you have to execute to use this as a revenue generator for your business. Okay, so let's get started on my end today. Okay, so as I was talking about before, we are looking at inventory. So to me, the path is always math, right? The reality of it is there are less transactions to go around this year. I was just kind of joking around as I was talking with the team here this morning that this Thanksgiving, that technically there's less food to go around, right? And I was using it in the analogy of last year we had 4.1 million transactions just underneath that. This year we're going to be at about 3.8, 3.9, depending on the way it finally settles. So it's less this year, and last year was down a ton from the year before and down a ton from the year before, which was which 2022 I believe was like the all-time high. I think we had like 6.2 or I don't know, something really high. Now, when we look at a lot of this stuff here, let me actually get the right slide that makes the most sense for us on what I was sharing about. So when we look at these annual projections, right, you have this last year of what has happened. So we go all the way back to, actually, no, I think it was, it was 05 that was the crazy high, right? But then we had 21 that went bonkers. 22 was still a really good year. And then last year, 23. So if you look at this, right, this is not a gradual drop, right? This is a pretty drastic drop. Hence why we have seen so much issues, right, with transactions, agents getting out of the business, and so many things going on. But those, quite frankly, are the people that probably got into the business and, maybe wanted to do their own deals, maybe sell a house for their family and their immediate network, right? So I want to show you how to be the person that runs their business as a business, right? And that is exactly, since Kai and I were using the metaphor of McDonald's before, I'll stick with that for the moment. You're absolutely right, where those people that come in, they are just taking the order. They're not in charge of having to market and advertise and all of those types of things. And even though McDonald's has a ridiculously household brand, right, especially it's across the world, it's one of the most known brands in the entire world, right, probably top 3, just throwing it out there guessing. Anyhow, so those golden arches, right, which is known for what that whole piece. But when we look at that, they're still running commercials. They still do promotions. They still do all of these things to make sure that they stay top of mind and tip of tongue. And part of what they're doing, right, is seasonally, sometime, whether it be the McRib or some new fries or some, whatever, right, like new McFlurry. Right? And I'm just, again, using this as an example for us. These are the value propositions of the problems that they're solving in the marketplace, right? I.e., it's the sweet tooth season, or summertime, it's hot, here's a nice cold drink. Hey, hungry and busy with all the shopping that's going on this Black Friday, make sure you pop by the McDonald's and grab yourself a quick snack, right? Or maybe they're doubling down on being more healthy with all the pressure that's been going on. And again, I'm just showing you guys these different messages that they're doing at a very, very grand scale, because even though that's a massive enterprise, our business still has to operate on the exact same components. And that's where, if we're making sure that we are solving that problem through a value proposition in the marketplace, i.e., an instant cash offer that allows you to pick your close date, remodel your house before you sell it and maximize your profit, right? These are things that are going to get people to come to your counter and take a look at what you have on your menu. Right? So that's exactly why I want us to be doing the things like Kai is talking about, where we're going to blast it out at a very big scale, because this is how we get our unfair share when there's only 3.9 million transactions that are going to happen. The person that gets louder with the message, the agent that gets more consistent with their delivery, more consistent in the problems that they are going to solve, more consistent in the value proposition that they are delivering to the marketplace, is not going to lack. So when you get more certain yourself that you're not going to be, doomed in this market, because there's still 3.89 million transactions that go on, right? That's still, when you really look at it, probably a lot. Thousands and thousands of deals, depending on your city size, right? Hundreds of deals happening every day, or maybe even, plenty of transactions, thousands of transactions happening every single month, again, depending on your city side, hundreds or thousands in most cases. Okay, so let's jump onto this, because I think that so many people are doom and gloom, right? And there's a lot of theories around, hey, the election is caused all of this compression on the market. People were extremely uncertain what was going on, and now that there's been a lot of pent up, and it's getting ready to recoil and pop. Well, there's no question that economic confidence on a lot of capacities seems to be up, but it does not solve the point right now of interest rates are still high, cost of living is still up. Right? Even though I think we're having a lot of confidence in certain things that are going on, we will see how much it starts to shake out next year, which is why NAR, when I really look at this and see that, the forecast is going to be 5.7 million homes, I personally think that that's a little bit high. But when we look at all of this, right, an average of all of them is forecasting that we're going to be above 5 million homes. That is a 20%, well, if we take that we were at 4 million this past year, and even 4 million pretty much the year before, and we go all the way to 5 million, that'd be a 25% increase over the year. That is a substantial amount of increase in productivity. So what I want to do is really urge you guys to start now, right? To me, quarter one pretty much starts in October or now, right? When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Next best time is today, right? Meaning that we need to start marketing for our next client, our next client, and our next client. And when we're systematic and running our business in sections where I have it blocked off, where I'm going to be dealing with transactions, where I'm going to be dealing with advertising and marketing, then I'm also going to be dealing with direct client communication and possibly, and prospecting, right? Meaning I'm having those conversations of where I've generated interest through needs and wants and a UVP. These people have engaged with it. Now I'm taking that conversation to these people. I'm a huge believer of that because you have higher level conversations, and most of the time it's a higher quality conversation, right? And you're talking to somebody here that's made, I have no idea how many cold calls, probably tens of thousands in the course of my real estate career, tens of thousands of cold calls where, we're talking canceleds, expireds, even FSBOs I did for a fair amount of time too, neighborhood dials, etc. So what I have found through all of this, though, is if I can have a higher level, more purposeful phone call, and I can, because I have access to data, have meaningful conversations with people in a quicker manner, that I don't necessarily have to take it from point A. I'm responding to their engagement. That's a cheat code for my business, and I'm starting at, it's almost kind of like in a baseball analogy, I'm starting on second base, right? I'm already standing on second base, and I only have to touch third and then home before I am able to score the run. So something to think about there, and we're going to dive into that in just a moment. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. One other thing I want to connect real quick with you guys on a thought leader here on this chart that I found really interesting is, let's go through each one of these. So first-time home buyers, the last 2 years has been massively down. So when I was doing a little bit of research for this session, apparently approximately 40% of the market at times can be, buying the buyer's market can be first-time home buyers. right? Where right now it's adjusted down because of cost, because of rates, because of affordability. It's underneath 25%. It's like 24% basically. So this is, when we look at this, right, this is really, really low, right? When we look at, over here, I guess the first-time home buyers, it's 27% currently, right? Where it's that first-time home buyer, they're just not as much in the market as they typically are. That's massive compression due to cost, due to affordability, right? Of course, the sales to investors, I think this is one that we can kind of circle back on if we have time on, because I think this is a massive opportunity. The reason why I personally love investors is the path is math. It's not emotional. If it makes financial sense based on the liquidity of capital that they have, based on the rent that the property can get, and you can go out and find a property that meets that investor's mold, and they have a certain amount of capital to deploy. A lot of times if it's a 1031 exchange, you can find those types of people, as well. It's just a really cool opportunity, and you can run your business with other people that are running their business, right? It's almost like a B2B sale, and it's a little bit different. Not emotional, just a math equation, and it works. Okay, so this right here is something I wanted us to take a look at, is this year over year cash. So this for us is a great thing, okay? So you have the cash buyers are less in the market right now, okay? Now, the reason why that is so compelling is because that means your offer is more unique that you're able to bring to every single homeowner, right? Not only that, if you're in a market where you can turn your buyer's offer to cash, you're more likely to negotiate a better deal for your client, and that's one of the number one ways to get them off of the fence. Quit waiting for rates to drop. Right, there's Brian, just on our last podcast, who's our partner. He's the president of Wallach & Volk, tore into the 2-1 buy down and how he can position your client to get them a better payment, and it's a no-lose situation, because if rates go up, rates go down, no matter what, they're in a winning position, and you're able to not only negotiate terms, and it's just it's a beautiful thing, and it's a really unique opportunity to get people into motion and action now. That's really what this is about to me, is get them into motion now, because again, a lot of times the decision cycle is between, hey, let's move, hey, let's buy, can be anywhere from 1 day to 18 months in some cases. So start that process now and create those leads and those pipelines. All right, so back to this cash piece and why this is so powerful for us here. From the seller side, okay? When the market, the buyers that's going on in there, right? There's less cash buyers right now than there was this time last year. That's what this is showing you. And so when you can be the cash offer that's bringing it to a canceled and expired and off market or even an on market property, they're more likely to work with you. You're bringing them ultimate certainty, and then you're also bringing them ultimate convenience by the speed of the sale. Okay? So again, when we're especially if it's a house that could use some new paint, some updating, and there's just a real tremendous opportunity to improve the property. The Fix It, List It is such an amazing program that really starts conversations with almost anybody. Now, the one thing I want us to think about, kind of, using an analogy, it's like having that crazy itch, right? How do you not itch it? You got to itch it. That's exactly what this does for homeowners. When you can go in and showcase that you're going to increase their equity, right? Putting more cash in their pocket, giving them cash now that makes sense for them. And there's an additional payout that potentially is going to come, is a tremendous conversation starter, right? Doesn't always mean that every single time, just for clarity, that it's going to work out once the deal is looked at and the numbers, etc. But that itch that needs to be scratched is, will this work for me? Does this make sense for me? And so that's the beauty of what you guys get to do, is that's a key differentiator between you and any other agent that they're talking to. Now let's talk about the pivot on that real quick, just because we're on the topic. One of the biggest things I think I see agents miss is understanding how to handle the pivot on if that offer doesn't work. and let's say that, hey, it's a tremendous rehab that needs to go on, and we're talking full kitchen, full backyard, and, just a lot of stuff. Let's say it's a $100,000 remodel that's going to go on, and it's potentially only going to bring $125,000 more in value. So maybe a little bit more risk, because obviously the $100K is going to have to be repaid, and then the $25K, let's just say, is in a best case scenario. So maybe that's not the most ideal situation for this client. Maybe there's also the cash plus in this, that because it's the property that has the deferred maintenance and a higher risk, and it ends up having a 40% reserve, let's say. Well, doesn't mean that these people, or these sellers, still don't have a need to sell their house. So let me allow me to share with you how I handled that and had a lot of success with this when I would bring an offer from a cash buyer and that the homeowner didn't like, and they were highly likely to not accept it, and where I didn't want to feed anything about them being offended by an offer because of it getting adjusted based on the condition of the property, right? Again, the buyers and that review this, the property analysts, it's not an emotional decision. It's just based on the condition of the property, the risk that the property is presenting to the marketplace in its current condition, and the likeliness of the time that it's going to sell within the price range that is being offered on the property, right? So those are some of the decision factors that are being made. So if that reserve increases, a lot of times what's happening is the buyer and the analyst are mitigating the risk for them so that they can buy the property and then give the reserve back, but also saying, hey, the offer is at X, but we need to have the reserve because of its condition. We may need to drop the price, right? It's an insurance policy, and making sure that the property is going to sell for above the price less the reserve, right? That, kind of that defined amount. Okay, so now that we've explained that, allow me to share with you how you're going to pivot and handle this. Hey, Mr., and again, I'll just kind of lightly role play this. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, hey, I want to let you know I went back to these buyers and I pushed on them. And due to the current comparables inside of your area, they're not able to adjust their offer any higher because of the risk that's going on in the area. And so what that means is it's really just about supply and demand, right? They're not seeing the demand as high as it needs to be to meet the current supply that's available in your area. So let me ask you this. I see that, and again, I'm what would have already established, right? Like, what's a number that makes sense for you guys, a number that they want to be at, those types of things. So this is where we have to preemptively find that out in my early conversations, right? So again, that should just be a common practice for you guys. That you're taking their wants and needs to try to help them achieve their particular goals. So so back into role play. So previously you had shared with me that you and the family are looking to get $500,000 for the house. Hey, well, I went ahead and took a look at everything outside different than these buyers, because I figured that since they couldn't adjust their numbers, that this, per our previous conversations, you had shared that this wasn't going to work for you. So if I was able to show you a strategy of how we can get you that $500,000 that you guys are looking for, and we can do it in as little as 45 days, is that something that you would be interested in learning a little bit more about? Let's say that they will play devil's advocate here, and they'll say, no, we don't want to do that. If you can't do that, thanks, but no thanks, kind of thing. Hey, well, but before I let you go, let's do this. Why don't we take a look at the reverse engineered of numbers? Because you had shared that you want to, relocate, move to the city, right? That's where I've done that needs and wants analysis, where they're going to go next, right? That's why that's really important for us to pre-discover that. So let's say that they were, are moving up because they're having another kid or whatever the reason is. Hey, you had shared that you need to get this amount of money, right, to put as a down payment on your next house because the family's expanding, right? Yes, we had shared that. Okay, well, why don't we do this before, to make sure that I'm doing the absolute most work for you possible? I went ahead and crafted a strategy for you already to show you how not only are we going to put more, the $500,000 in your pocket before, but we're going to put a little bit more in your pocket. And what I want to do is take 5 minutes of your time to show you how we're going to make that happen. Okay? Now, I'm going to pause real quick there because most cases, guys, when we talk about, let's say the program fee, you're going to be able to potentially remove that, right, when we're talking about a net out situation. Then from there, you're going to have to be able to guide them through, hey, the house has some deferred maintenance. What are we working with to get this house in a position so that, the market is not going to reject the property, right, at the price? We all know that we have those sellers that sometimes are a little bit more challenging when nope, this is my price, nope, I don't want to do anything, etc. So then that's where just on this piece, right, we have to start uncovering what they can do, right? So how are we going to get this house in the best position possible so that we can get them as much as possible? Then from there, I'm really going to double down on their time frame. Now, the other thing I want you guys to know is sometimes when you take people through this, that cash plus or even the fix it and list it option, if that again is a math one that works, starts becoming more appealing because they start looking at, hey, what are some of the other solutions that we have, right? If I can get $50,000 of my equity now, maybe they have to cash out $25,000 of their 401k to get the down payment that they need, right? There's just options, and that's part of what we want to be as the pro, and getting them from where they are to where they want to be. And again, there's so many scenarios here as we go through this, but I'm just giving you guys a framework of how we want to go through a discovery process. You're using the cash offer to build a relationship and always be the advisor. So even though they don't like your cash offer, the reality of it is you guys have to be better at blaming the market in that situation when that doesn't work, right? And I don't want to say blame the market, right? Because sometimes it's just their house, quite frankly. But the reality of it is use the market as, like I said with you, like I shared with you before, hey, based on the supply and the demand for your property type in the area, it's showing that your house is going to have extended marketing times at this particular price in its current condition. So what I want to do is share with you a strategy on how we can get your house in the best position possible to sell for as much money as possible in today's market, right? Because we want to make sure that we upgrade the house before March of next year when the baby's due, right? Yes. Cool. Well, let me show you a strategy and a plan on how we're going to get you there in the next 60 days. And that way you're already all set up and you have no stress by the time the baby gets here. Sound fair enough? Right? So it's being able to take them through those types of conversations and lead them through it, right? I think that's where sometimes until you've had be willing to go through that process, be that advisor, that sometimes those opportunities get missed by us as agents. So do yourself a favor, do your clients a favor, guide them through the process. And just because the cash offer that you brought to them, they are not a fan of in this situation, doesn't mean that the next client that you don't bring in, the cash offer is going to be perfect for them, and it's a great property, and the reserve is minimal, and everything makes sense, and it's smooth as glass, right? That's just the way the cookie crumbles in a deal-off situation, right? As we all know, houses are living, breathing things. So just wanted to walk you guys through that, how I personally handle that and have success with it, and being able to guide my client and operate off of a advisory fiduciary role to my client, always maintaining that. So let's go into a couple of things here, because now I want to shift. I know we're bouncing around here a bit today, so I want to just be very clear. That is fiduciary, operational, tactical info that I just gave you. I want to take off that hat, and now the hat I want to put on is how do we go create, how do we create a lead magnet, right? How do we get people to start coming into us? How do we put out a message that gets people to raise their hand? How do we put out a message that inspires, like, that sounds interesting? How do we put out a message that puts you in home selling conversations, okay? So the first thing I want to do is take a look at these pieces and being able to upload our lists and what that looks like. It's just, again, communicating at a very large scale is dire in today's market. When we have less transactions, right? When we have let's just look at this from a mathematical standpoint. When we have 100 people, right, and only 4 of them are going to sell their house mathematically, well, 2 years ago it was 6. That's more opportunity, right? And if it's only going to be 3.5 or 3.8 this year of the 100 people, again, there's just less. So what we need to do is make sure that because if we're going to be doing the same amount of transactions, well, that means at minimum, I need to add on another 25 to 50 people to communicate with, so I still end up doing the same amount of transactions. Well, that's exactly the framework of what I want to offer you guys here is we are able to help you scale out that message and create the value props, right, that are going to get you in front of your client. Okay. So yeah, these are the people, right? And again, this is just a fun account test on some levels, where they're able to engage with this particular email, right? You're able to month after month show them, discover your home's new value. Now, the reality of it is again, we'll just keep it simple math. If I have 100 people on this every single month, right, the goal, first of all, is for me to create a compelling value proposition that gets them to open the email. That is objective number 1. Well, let's take a step back, actually. That's objective number 2. Objective number 1 is to make sure that my communication gets to their inbox, right? If you don't get to the inbox, your message will never even have a chance to be seen or heard. So we need to make sure that we have proper contact information and that we're ending up in their primary email. Okay? And so one of the things that the home report does for you when you upload the list is it actually will ping their email address and make sure that it's a valid email, which is why we have such incredibly high delivery rates. So that's one of the coolest, very cool value proposition that you get that almost kind of helps you clean up your list, right? So for example, if you have a list of 2,000 people and only 1,200 of them are good, valid emails, it'll let you know that you have 800 spots available, and then you can start looking at some of the other strategies on how you're going to get 800 more people so you can capture that interest and, again, get into relationship with those people and keep growing your business through the strategy that we are talking about. Okay, so once we are all inside here, right, and you have the different engagements, the clicks, and seeing what's going on, right, we can kind of come in here. You can see what they're seeing. They're going to click on View My Home Report, okay? Now, as this loads, here's one of the cool things, guys. Let's say that your list, because you only have their first name and their last name, but you don't have their home address, you're thinking to yourself, I got 2,000 people, but I only have 300 addresses. So should I only put in 300? Well, the answer is no. And here's why, because of this framework, as you can see on my screen that we just created. So it's going to invite them to go and look at their home report, and then check this out. The first thing, let's confirm your details. Let's get started. Please enter your address and unlock your personalized real value insights. That's a beautiful thing because now we are creating data integrity on our list. So now we're able to start seeing all kinds of things that's going on, everything that we need to be able to, everything that we need to be able to start marketing to them and making sure that we're getting into relationship with them. When we have our contacts in our lists, right, we can very easily take them and upload them right here, okay? Now, I want to show you on this whole piece because we do get a lot of questions around uploading your list. Well, this training bit, right, when we come over here, I want us to realize all of the different things that we have access to inside of your platform. One of the big things that we have done that's different here is going to be this help center recently, where look at this. If I click on that, it's going to pull me to an entire new help center hub. Okay, these are going to be some frequently asked questions that you can come in here and learn about the launch campaign, how to upload your list, how to do all of the things, getting started around the AI home report that we were just talking about. But then also one of the big things that's new in here is all of the different offers and the cash flow work frameworks. So a lot of times we'll get a, hey, what is the workflow? Hey, what happens after an offer gets accepted? Okay, great. Well, there's the review happens after the initial acceptance, or they finalize the offer. Then the offer's finalized. Okay, great. The new numbers work. They click, I'll take this deal. Then from there, a cash plus or the addendum is generated, sent to you. You draft the contract, and everybody signs off on it. Then the escrows get open. Inspection happens, right? Which is a 15-day window. So this kind of goes over that entire process for you guys so that you get really clear what's going on and what how the transaction works. Right now, the other thing I want us to see here, I can kind of come in here and just start, searching, let's just say offers, right? And I know obviously that's there, but you're going to get the access of all of the different things here, right? Where receive offers on properties on active MLS. So now this will kind of come in here and give you the frameworks of the articles and everything that are in here that you have all at your fingertips. So if you want to look for properties that are on the MLS to be able to write offers on them, using the cash plus strategy, you're going to be able to do that right here. Now, the beautiful thing on that, remember, is that house is already listed, right? You don't need to necessarily have a commission offered to you because the buyer is the part of the offer structure is going to pay you 2%. Then you're the one that's going to relist that property and get paid another 2% when you sell that, right? And it's a really cool opportunity for you to take advantage of and create yourself some transactions. So again, I wanted to show everybody this framework. This is brand new. That's out, and it just is. It's a great resource for you to be able to see what's going on. Tutorials recently have been redone as well, where there are some of the on the new the user interface that we have here that's brand new, so that making sure that you operate and know how to navigate it with a client accordingly. So the last thing I really wanted to kind of just share on here with you guys is ultimately getting ourselves into action, right? This is the time of year. This is one of those weeks where there's a lot less people. There's a lot less people working. This is one of those times of year where people will be focusing more on family, those types of things, travel, etc., preparing for guests. Well, this is an opportunity for you as a real estate professional to block off that hour or two. How are you going to take advantage of the social media assets? How are you going to take advantage of the AI home report, right? So many of you, the home report is already included in your account, right? So make sure that you're uploading those lists and starting that automated marketing, right? The AI will engage them in conversation, creating hot, compelling leads for you so that all you have to do is then get in touch with them after the AI alerts you that they had a conversation. And based on the history, right? Like there's already things that we're seeing, for example, of what's the best time of year to sell my house. If I was to improve my house, how much more could I sell it for? Should I paint my house before selling it? Are lighter colors better to paint my house in the springtime? Right? So like these are things that people are thinking of asking the AI, and these are all things that are going to be reported back to you as the agent that you're getting access to of things that they typically don't, call us up and ask, right? It's just, again, a really tremendous opportunity for us to see, to almost kind of be that fly on the wall and then get the intel we're looking for so that we can keep reeling in those clients and taking advantage of these opportunities that are in front of us. So do yourself a favor. Make sure that you start communicating your message at a very big scale. Bring a unique value proposition so that you are constantly putting yourself in home selling conversations. And those are all things that you're able to do, as you guys know, with Zoodealio and the AI home report. So as always, thank you guys so much for being with me. Look forward to being with you week after week. Everybody have a great and fantastic Thanksgiving. Enjoy that turkey, stuffing, ham, or whatever your cuisine is going to be. I wish you, again, you and your family all of the best. And from me and the Zoodealio family, again, happy Thanksgiving, and you guys have a great week.